What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. And today we're going to be talking about your story. And I'm just curious, what is your story? Now, obviously, if you guys are listening to this podcast, who knows, maybe you're a client of mine, send me over a private message on the Heartletics training app, just letting me know, like, what is your story? I would love to know. I probably already know, honestly, from our discovery call that we had, but share with me just like maybe a 2 to 3 second sentence, your story, especially after you get done watching this, because we're going to talk about your story, okay? And if let's say you're not a client, hey, you're missing out. But anyways, send me over a message, maybe on Facebook or whatever the case may be, Instagram, or if you're even watching this here on YouTube, comment down below. Especially after you get done watching this video. So stay to the very end because I want to know your story. But specifically, right, we're going to be talking about what is your story. And remember, guys, the reason I'm making these, episodes is just to share with you guys experiences. That's it, right? Like you're going through your own life. I'm going through my own life. It's two different journeys, right? We're just crossing paths in this life where, hey, you decided to tune in today, which I'm super grateful for, right? Let me just also say that. But you're going through your own path, man. Everybody has different stories. I'm going to share with you guys my story, my vision, right? And hopefully it gives you a sense of a better meaning to your own story, right? And why it's important. And when you find that story, when you find that true meaning of your why, when you dig a little bit deep, this is when it's going to make it so much easier for you to become more consistent. And obviously, when you're more consistent, you're going to start seeing better results. So let's start getting better results. And the first step to get better results, shameless plug, is if you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure to give this, video a thumbs up, but also subscribe, right? Press that little bell notification. That way you're never missing another future video. You'll always be up to date, which is pretty cool, right? Because this is some good stuff. And then obviously, if you're listening to this on the podcast, whether it's, iTunes, Spotify, definitely give me a good rating if you don't mind. And maybe just share this episode on maybe your Facebook page or Instagram story, whatever the case may be, and tag me, or send me over a message. Like, I just would love to know that maybe I said something in today's episode to just kind of help you out on your journey with becoming the best version of yourself, right? Mentally and physically, because that's what I'm here today to do. So let's talk all about your story, right? But before we talk about your story, let me be a little bit selfish, right? Let me talk about my story. So for the longest time, right, my why, I should say, as to why I got involved into fitness and nutrition and coaching and all that stuff was just to continue to help people, right? Like I find that it's very rewarding, right, when I get a message from somebody like, let's say, Mike, and hey, he got off his blood pressure, cholesterol meds, and reverses type 2 diabetes in 7 weeks of coaching, which is great, right? So I love seeing that. Like that makes my heart so grateful. But I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Okay. When I had my son Oakley, right now he's 3 years old. Okay. He's going to be turning 4 in January. When I had my son Oakley, my why changed, right? So I was coaching plenty of people before I became a parent. But when I became a parent, life changes, right? Plain and simple. Like you guys know, most of you guys, the demographics that's tuning in and listening to this episode, you're probably a mom or dad, right? You're parents. You understand what it's like, where you realize here, like you're do anything for your kids, right? You'll do anything, but sometimes doing anything for your kids makes things a lot worse down the road, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But so when I had Oakley, right, I realized here, and this is at the time I'm working, two jobs. This is when I actually first invested into my first business coach, which I'm so grateful I did. And I remember him asking me, like, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Like, why do you want to get signed up, right, to help me, grow your business and teach you how to have a successful, profitable business that you can scale and grow? Why? What is your why? And I just remember telling him, I'm going to be having my first child, right? I'm going to be having a son here. This is probably like 2 months before he was born. And so if you think about it, right? Like, very scary times. Very scary times, right? Taking a big investment, right, into a business coach. which was huge for me to do, right? Like that was the biggest like transaction of funds I ever had to make, right? Besides, I think a deposit on my house. Um, but it was very scary, to say the least. I was very nervous. But I just remember telling him on that call, and we connected, right? I just felt like, hey, this guy was here to hear me out. This guy was here to just, help me and learn a little bit more about me and how he can help me out. And I felt, as we progressed through a conversation, that trust, right? That loyalty, that respect on both parties. And I remember him asking me about, like, what is my why? Why do I want to, get started? What do I want to do, like, etc. And for, the longest time, it was just, to help out more people, right? To, hey, coach more clients, grow the business, have more success. That's fun. That's cool. Obviously, I'm changing people's lives. The success, it's great, right? I'm not trying to downgrade that at all. But when I had my son, right, and like I said, most of you guys that are parents that are listening to this, you realize here that you probably had some goals that you want to achieve, and then you had a child and you realize here, I want to do everything for that kid. Plain and simple. Right? I want to make sure that they have their best life. I obviously want Oakley to have the best life, but what I told, right, this business coach was I want to be the type of dad my son looks up to. And when he's in his, 20s and like, he's about to go to college and all this stuff, like he's like, I just want to be like my dad, right? Like, how like most little kids say like, oh, I want to be like my dad, like, and they're like, what, 3 years old, 4 years old, right? Like, and I love kids; they have a great imagination. Um, you know, most people say like, oh, cop, maybe an astronaut, doctor, right? I want my son to always look up to me and be like, I want to be just like him. Now, I don't mean in a sense of like physical attributes. I don't mean in a sense of like running Heartletics one day, although that would be pretty awesome if I could, hand him down the business, right? If he wants it. I'm never going to force my son to do anything. But what I really mean by that was, being this type of character, right? Character, your story, tying in right now, listen in closely. So being this type of character, right? Because we're all these different like levels of life, right? We're all in these different journeys. And so, as my son, as he progresses through life in his own journey, I want him to just remember me as that character that he idolized and looked up to. Not in a sense of like being an entrepreneur, not in a sense of like being physically fit, because by the time he's 20, I'm not good with math at all, but I'll say late 40s, something like that. I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me out. Um, we'll just make it more sense to this. I'm 30 years old, right? Hey, 20 years from now, when I'm 50 and he's 23, okay? At 23 years old, I want Oakley James Kalari being like, I look up to my dad. I want to be just like him based on his values, based on his mission, based on what he said he was going to be out to be. Now, let's talk about your story. What is your why? What is your story? Because I'm not trying to be rude here. I'm just, once again, a coach that always voices my opinion. And when you're a coach and you're not a cheerleader, cheerleaders tell you what you want to hear. They do rah rah, the pom poms, right? They hype you up, they make you feel good. Sometimes a coach is going to make you learn. And sometimes a coach is going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And sometimes, like the hardest lessons that sting the most, you end up getting the most reward from because you end up learning. Here's the reality: a lot of you guys out there, dads, right? Parents, you guys have great intentions, but you do a lot of talking and not really a lot of walking. Okay? Meaning that I'm going to be 50 years old, and because of the habits that I do every single day, the same habits that I teach and coach our coaching clients on Heartletics with, I'm still going to be like, I say it like this all the time. I joke with my wife. I'm like fine wine. I'm only getting better with age. And I mean that. When I'm 50 years old, I'm my son is not going to beat me in basketball when I'm 50 years old and he's 23. I promise you that. When I'm 50 years old and he's 23, I promise you this. Sure, right? He might be able to take me down, but guess what? I'm gonna get him in like a triangle choke or a guillotine. I'm gonna submit him, right? Like that's what I mean. When I'm 50 years old, I'm gonna be that guy that is that the shaved head, right? Bald probably at the time, gray beard, tatted up, tank top, shredded, 10% body fat, voicing my opinion, helping more and more people, right? I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy that, my son is going to look up to and be like, I want to be just like my dad. My dad, when he does something, he does it to the fullest. I want my son saying that. I want my son saying that about me, and I want to be the biggest role model, right? Like I look up to The Rock. Well, guess what? I want to be The Rock to my son. That all starts with me. This is my story. I needed to find my story. But it's not just having this nice little shiny, cover story to this novel that says your story, but inside there's no words. It's time you start writing your story today. It's time you stop talking and start walking. What does that mean? Well, a lot of you guys say, hey, I want the best for my kids. I'll do anything for them. Yeah? Monkey see, monkey do. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Why are you not trying to get your steps in? Why are you not prioritizing your health? Why are you not, drinking plenty of water? But here's the reality. You most likely are, right? This type where, after a long, hard day of work, you pat yourself on the back and you say, man, we worked 50 hours this week. Man, this was tough. So I'm going to sit on the couch, turn on the Netflix, have a few beers, and that's it. My kids can play around their tablets, do whatever they want, play video games. I'll be active with them later. Well, when is that going to happen? When has that been happening? I know a lot of guys that say they want something bad enough, but they don't realize that their story with their daily actions is leading, right, your kids down the bad path. Think about this. You're being fat, lazy, broke, right? And I talked all about that, just so everybody knows, in an episode, right, called I Got Knocked the F Out, which is a great, great podcast episode to listen to. I talk all about, hey, if you're fat, lazy, and broke, I don't have respect for you if you're not willing to make a change. If you're fat, lazy, and broke, and you're actually trying to benefit yourself and better your health and better your sakes, right, and progress and get out of that, I have respect for you. I go into more detail about that one. So all I'm saying is, if you feel triggered right now, cool. I'm glad I got your attention, right? So a lot of you guys, look into your daily habits. Sit around on the couch all day. You don't care about, being active with the family. You try these stupid ass like fad diets out there thinking like, oh, I'm just going to cut out my carbs, not have any sugar, not, have any cakes, donuts, avoid all my favorite foods, and think in my head that's setting my kid up for success with having a great, healthy relationship with food. That they should also avoid their favorite foods, that they should also cut out their carbs. They should also starve themselves and not eat anything. Are you dumb? Like, take a step back. You don't have to be a rocket science to realize here that like what you do doesn't just affect your health, or lack thereof, I should say. What you do is affecting your family, is affecting your kids. So what is your story? What is your story? My story is the fact that when I'm 50 years old, my son is still going to look up to me and say, I'm just, holy cow, I love this guy. He's my best friend, right? Like, I want Oakley saying that when he's 23 and I'm 50 years old. I want him looking up to me being like, wow, Every single day, my dad says what he set out to be and do and have. He doesn't settle for anything less. He doesn't talk the talk, he walks the walk. Look at his actions. All these other guys, right? You think I'm going to see them at 50 and 60 years old in the gym lifting weights with me? Showing up all these young bucks when they're in their 20s? No. Because guess what? They don't have the story that I have. They don't have that deep-rooted why. What is your story? What is your why? You need to put some meaning to it. There's plenty of days where I don't feel like showing up and going to the gym. There's plenty of days where I don't feel like doing a morning routine. There's plenty of days I don't feel like coming on here and recording these episodes, but I do it every single day. Why? Because the more consistent I am, the better I get. The easier it gets. Anybody can cut out carbs. Anybody. You know how easy that is? But guess what? What happens 2 to 3 weeks in? You hit the plateau, you regain your weight right back, and you get all pissed off and butthurt about it. Try something different. Maybe the hard thing for you was the hard thing for me that got me to where I am today, and that's investing into a coach. Putting my ego to the side, realizing I don't know how to scale and have a successful business. But guess what? This is what I want. I don't want to settle for anything less. I want to leave a legacy. I want to help inspire millions of people. And most importantly, I want to inspire my son and show with him and share with him that, hey, guess what? Even during the hard times and making those hard decisions, you're still following your heart. You're still having faith and having trust that you will reach your goals. And you're not going to settle for anything less. Because we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. So many of you guys right now are not even walking the walk, but yet you're continuing to talk the talk. So here's the call to action. Post this on your Facebook, send me over a message, comment down below on YouTube. What is your story? Don't give me that BS story that you had in the beginning of this episode where you want to look good with your shirt off. What is your story? What is your why? Once you have that why and it's deep rooted, you don't need motivation. You need discipline. You don't need intensity. You need consistency. And maybe you need somebody to actually teach you, just like somebody taught me, how to do something that I did not know. Because guess what? I didn't come out of the womb knowing everything about nutrition, knowing everything about training, knowing everything about running a successful business. I had to invest into certifications. I had to invest into coaches to teach me what I don't know. Haven't you heard of school? Haven't you heard of driver's ed class? When there's something in your life that you don't know, you know how to get there? You ask for help. You have somebody teach you, give you the knowledge. That's how you're going to reach your goals. That's how you're going to learn. So many of us have these egos and we don't know how to push them to the side and just say, yeah, I don't know how to get there, but I'm willing to ask for help. So many guys want to try to be their own body mechanics and fix their own car part when they don't even know how to work on a car. So they're over here with a broken transmission trying to put the air in the tires like that's going to fix the issue. They're over here trying to put windshield wiper fluid into the where it needs to go, and it's like the issue is like the starter. Like you're fixing the wrong part, dude. Like how well has that been working out for you? How well has cutting out carbs and fasting and having this unhealthy relationship with food? How well has that been working out for you? Because guess what? If you've been fat, lazy, and broke and out of shape for the past year, 5 years, 10 years, I bet you anything, you're going to continue to be fat, lazy, broke, and miserable with your life in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Until you decide to make a commitment, take ownership, and say enough's enough. I'm going to do this once and for all because this is my story. And I'm not going to settle for anything less. What is your story? Send me over a message, leave a comment down below. What is your story? If there's no meaning to it, there's no why, tough luck. It's going to be very hard for you to manifest and reach your goals in life because there's no intention, plain and simple. Guys, I really hope that you guys got some value from today's episode. Once again, my job here as a coach, right, is to help you that's tuning in right now become the best version of yourself mentally and physically. That's it. That's how we coach our guys, right? That's how we help out others. Like, that's it. I want to help you become the best version of yourself so that way, guess what? You can become a better spouse. You can become a better parent. You can become a better coworker. And you can start inspiring others to also make that change. That's how I know for a fact I'm going to leave the world a better place, by continuing to voice, my opinions and my thoughts, and to give you guys the keys to success and motivate and inspire you to help you become the best version of yourself. And all I ask in return is that if you guys got any value at all, plain and simple, just send me over a message letting me know that something I said in this, episode resonated with you. I would greatly appreciate that. And then also, if you don't mind, who knows? Maybe this episode can also inspire somebody else. Maybe one of your friends or family members. Maybe they just need to hear something that I said today that resonated with you. And if you don't mind, just maybe posting this on your Instagram stories, right? Just maybe screenshotting your, podcast or, iTunes image, whatever the case may be. Maybe also just sharing the link also to your Facebook page. That might be a little bit easier. That way somebody can just simply click on it. And that's it. I want to help you to help out others. I want to help you to help out yourself. And with that being said, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com. And if you guys want more helpful tips and tricks on how to become the best version of yourself, go visit Heartletics.com. We have plenty of free, resources out there for you. An awesome free fat loss guide that teaches literally how we coach our clients through 7 essential fat loss habits, how to lose anywhere from 20 to 50 pounds of fat in 12 weeks or less. And then on top of that, we have a free coaching video that actually goes into detail about how I specifically coach my clients for anybody that's out there that's just curious about how coaching might work for them. And you can find all that information at Heartletics.com. Once again, I'm grateful for you to be tuning in, and I appreciate you. I can't wait to talk to you in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scout.